hear me now? Just do some final ajustement, and we'll get down to brass tacks. So, here we go. Green screen, y'all. Look how giant I am now on the screen. Oh, shit, I'm kind of in the wrong place here. There we go. Okay. So, first we're gonna watch the this thing. Turn off this garbage music. Okay. So first, let's watch the trailer for the glitch.fest. Sick. That was amazing. Okay. Whoops. Fuck off, you fucking piece of garbage. Okay. Alright. Out of that hellscape website. Okay, so Paperworks is going to be first today because we missed them 2 weeks in a row. And we got Amaranth. We got Heavy-Hearted. Wireframe Wars. Ooh, somebody new. Oh wait, that's cool. Somebody new. Okay, so yeah, let's start with Paperworks. Yeah. Here we go. Cool. That was really interesting. So I think the track itself is great. It really works as is. I actually have really no feedback about the track. I think it's really cool. The mix, however, I feel like the that bass thing, I think if that was lower in the mix, and also honestly a little bit more mono, I think that would work a little bit better. Yeah, of course, number. You can send. You can. I don't know why you ask this every time. You can always send tracks. Always feel free to send tracks. You know, I might not get to it, but you can always send them. Don't worry. And if I don't get to it, then I'll probably do it the next week, if you remind me. Anyways, but yeah, I think like yeah, that bass is like a little bit too wide, and I think like if you're always fucking around with the stereo field, it just turns into it just becomes monotonous. I would use the stereo field as like a feature instead of something that you just sort of, you know, you have something that's always kind of circling around or moving left and right or whatever. Brocco says, very vibey track. It sounded really mellow in a good way, although maybe the percussion can be a bit more intense. Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, is that I think the drums can come up a fair bit in the mix, or honestly just like I think if you pull that bass down, then everything else will sit a bit better. Although maybe you're right, Rocco. Maybe it's the drums that need to come up, or both. I don't know. Yeah. But it's really beautiful. The textures are really nice. I think also like you could play a little bit with the texture of that bass thing. But it's nice. One of the things that I really like to do on those is to put a parallel track. Oh, I don't even have live open. Oh yeah, whoops. Run away. So yeah, so say you have your bass here, as you would, and you have your whole effect rack or whatever. One of the things I like to do is to set up a reverb and a distortion. So we could just use, what is it called, overdrive or something? Here we go. On a channel. And then the way you do this is to have utility before this. So here's your dry channel. So when you have it like this, nothing is passing through, right? So, right? But then you go, oh, this didn't work. Why is this not working? So you get these nice like things that happen with that sort of stuff. And like the cooler your bass sounds to begin with, the more fun you can have with that. Also, sometimes I like to do this, although it gets a little bit boring, but oops. Shit like that. And then yeah, if you have a nice long time on there, you can have some nice good fun with that. If you hop on a game and win, I'll give you $1,000. Okay. Well, why? Okay. So cool. But yeah, that was fun. Okay. Now Abroxis. I feel like I have to get further away from the camera. I'm like filling the frame. great. That's really great. Yeah, wow. The one thing I would say, well, there's two things I would say. One is, I don't know, I don't really like those like wop, 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 wop with the low pass filter. But other than that, my only thought is that I think you can, some of these glitches are like, let's find one that does this. So the a couple thoughts about those. Like, I think that you can find more elegant ways of getting in and out of those glitches. So you have like, you have these moments where, sure, this is whatever. So, so you have these moments where in the middle of the sound, you know, you have something like this happening, right? Oh yeah. And I think like, if you think a little bit more about how this moment starts, like think of this as a fill, right? If you just launch into a fill, then you know you want to make make it feel like there's some reason for that to happen there, or like if you're gonna make it sort of more abrupt, then like lean into the abruptness. You can do that with mutes or something. Like, yeah. Or, you know, carry it on a little bit. Yeah. Or even some more mutes in here or something. Yeah. Or something like that, you know, like. And also, I would be careful about like too much of like staying in the same sort of length bit. I think like you can get a lot more nice stuff if you fill this with like some little moments that are slightly different sizes or whatever. This will make it feel a little bit more refined as well, you know, and then you can kind of, it's nice to finish it off sometimes with like a little really high pitched one or something. So, and also it's worth playing with this, the tuning of these as well. So you can get like, you hear how those like kind of feel a little bit more, there's a little bit more to them than just like these kind of hiccups. I think, I mean, it's not the case for all of them in there. You have some really nice ones in there, but I think that kind of attention to detail for those glitches would be good. Yeah, so things to play around with always is like the size of the cuts, right? And where you're gonna have silences. Also, in here, these things don't have to be the original sound, right? Some of the things that I like doing the most is like having one bit where it cuts to like, sometimes you can get some nice sounds from that, or even just pitching them and stuff, or pitching them and then trying to so these kind of things can also help. Yeah, this one sucks, but I don't know. Yeah. Yeah, sometimes you can get really nice things, like nice harmonics from the grain size thing. Or sometimes it's nice to like, so just take this and turn it into a completely new sound, right? Oops. If we take this and consolidate it, now we just have a tone, right, that we can pitch that back down. And then this sounds like a transformation of the sound. This itself can also be like, you know, stretched and pitched and stuff. Not with that, I guess. Oh, that's nice. Yeah, so we have those kind of things. Those kind of things. Yeah. So, cool. Other than that, it's like really beautiful. I really like the composition. I love the chords. I love how fucking weird it is in the stereo field. I like this. I really like this idea also where the drums kind of turn into. Where is it? get like really reverby in a small room. So I think that works really well. So yeah, cool. Yeah, I really like that. Also, can you hear me okay? Is it a bit quiet or how's it doing with all that? Thanks, this is great. Since I do indeed make very basic cuts too often, I wondered about ways of making them sound more interesting. For some reason, making very small cuts usually results in almost the same high-pitched sound. Yeah. So, yeah. Yeah, post to your SoundClouds always. Yeah, so you just want to be careful about how zoomed in you get, right? Like, once you get down to this level, like, there's not much you can do except for you're basically, like, making a tone. But these ones can also be manipulated and pitched, and this can be manipulated and pitched. Like, all of this stuff gives you these nice opportunities to, like, fuck with this stuff, right? And then just, you're basically trying to emulate, like, the computer itself fucking up, right? So that's great. And then, so that's going to use a lot of CPU, right? Those tiny cuts. So then after that, sometimes it's good to consolidate. And then once you have it consolidated, then you can stretch and do other stuff with it too, right? Or you can try to make the timing more consistent with what you're actually going for or something. Make it, I don't know. Yeah. I don't know. Yeah. And again, like automating the grain size, the transposition as well. Sometimes you can get nice little things from just having that one was pretty funny. Yeah. Sometimes it fucks it up completely, but, it takes like 2 seconds to do this stuff, so I think it's well worth the time. Yeah. Cool. So, yeah, thank you for that track. I really, really liked that one. That was cool. Amaranth. Here we go. Damn. Damn. That was fucking sweet. Yeah. It's really working. I think, I think this section could still be a bit longer. Like, so, and I think maybe the transition between this I like this idea of it kind of going to just the hi-hat and the sort of jet engine thing, and then it's descending into this madness. But I feel like it would be cool also to have a couple of those guys, but without the pads. Yeah. Fuck, it's really fucking cool though. That moment, yeah, that's fucking ace. Cool. Yeah, there's a lot of really fucking sweet stuff in there. I think yeah, I'm not sure. I still kind of that snare. Not all of them. There's a couple of the ones that we discussed previously. I think they work really well. Like, I think those slappy ones, I don't know, something about them just doesn't feel right. But anyways, it's coming along really good. I really, really like it. I think it's amazing. Maybe some moments. Yeah, maybe it would be interesting to have like a couple little kind of like pure tones or something. Like not pure tone, but you know what I mean, like some less distorted, like less, not necessarily distorted, but less noisy sounds. Might be a nice thing to kind of find a place for them in there. Obviously, like not everywhere, but just a couple little places, just to have some detailing like that. I think that'd be cool. But yeah, it's fucking great. Yeah, a little bit of pretty sparkles. Gotta have a little pretty sparkles every once in a while. But yeah, fuck, that was awesome. I'm really fucking stoked about that. Killer. Alright. Heavy Hearted with a remix of Abraxas. Ooh. That Brocco made you send. Okay. Let me turn up the gain a bit. Also, 1 second, I have something caught in my teeth. Nice. Okay, so there's a lot of like really cool sounds in here and a lot of really nice melodic fragments and stuff. I think um, generally, like when I'm trying to make something that's really abstract, I'll start by laying something down that's really like a really obvious melody or like a really clear melody, and then I'll start pulling it apart and taking stuff out and modifying it and modifying it. It feels like an easier way to get to this really abstract place and and still have um, some more momentum and some more pull to bring your audience through it. I think this kind of stuff is cool, but I think like um, if you if you're able to build it out in a way that like helps to pull the and all of this kind of comes back to tension and release, right? So I think in here there's like these sort of moments of tension, but that the tension is sort of like just harmonic tension. It doesn't necessarily feel like it needs to be resolved. It's like this other emotional tension, which is also cool. But I think like tension in the way of like something that makes that creates this type of anticipation for what's going to happen next, sort of thing. Um, yeah, I think like so. The end product I think doesn't necessarily need to be particularly like it will be particularly structured, but I think a way to find your way into some really really abstract stuff is really just like start with a really nice kind of obvious melody. Even like an arpeggio can be really helpful sometimes, although that's harder to break apart. But I think starting with something like that and then using that to like build, and then also like the other thing is that it's sort of like one section the whole way through, right? And I think like breaking it up into some other sections could help too, like to create more of a meandering trajectory through a thing. Or if you're going to sit in a particular place, if you're going to just make a space that the listener sits in, I think maybe more tonal stuff is needed to like inhabit the place. Because if you, for example, say you sit down like somewhere outside, there's always going to be little, or like anywhere, like any imagined landscape is always going to have little details. And as you sit and take in any space, your eye is moving to different things and observing other little details, and like the full feeling of the place is soaking in, right? And the same sort of thing with this kind of thing. There is this sort of narrative to that, like as you see other things around the space, it starts to dawn on you more and more what your feeling of the place is, and your feelings can change as you're sitting there, right? Just to give that kind of analogy of if you wanted it to be a place, but if you want it to be kind of more of a journey, uh, then I mean, in both those cases, there is going to be some sort of like journey element to it, right? Something that pulls the listener along. It's like you want to carry the listener's attention and point them in the direction of certain things. And so yeah, so I think you have in this already, you have all the necessary components to do that. I'm sure as you develop it, you'll find like, oh, I'm gonna add this or I'm gonna whatever. But yeah, I think like what it needs now is sort of a little bit more direction, and I wouldn't worry about keeping it abstract the whole way. Like sometimes you need to go through part of the composition process where you're making something less abstract in order to abstract it later to make it still structurally sound, even though the end product is going to be quite abstracted. Yeah, kind of like what Teddy said about the whistle theory. Although I'm not sure if that's exactly what I'm talking about, but I was feeling the need of drum and bass part at some point. Sunk to screen, there is. Cool. Okay, cool. Yeah, sweet. Yeah, nice. Yeah, please send it when it's ready. I always like to hear updates. Okay, wireframe wolves. Sorry, I had it cranked way too loud. That's nice. That was cool. I really like that last little. I really like the harmonies and stuff that you've made in here. They're really cool. I love that kind of bendy. That kind of shit is really cool. I think you're like from mixed situation. I think maybe your snare could have some other layer that's a bit wider or something. I think your kick could also be a little bit shorter. I don't know. I don't know if like how it sounds now. It feels either like it could be shorter or longer. So you have this like, and kind of what I would do is either truncate it so you get just like a boo, or make it longer so it's like boo, boo, boo. And I think like actually I feel like an 808 thing might, not necessarily an actual 808, but that kind of like boom, boom, boom kind of thing would actually work really well here. And it adds another element to the harmony that you can play with, tuning that with whatever's happening over top of it. It's kind of fun. So, yeah. But otherwise, I think it's really nice. Still, I mean, I know this is kind of your style, but I'm not sure about those splash cymbals. I feel like cymbals are not that common in electronic music, like other than in psytrance, and I think that's why I have this like particular association with splash and crash cymbals. Like they're just not that. I don't know. But I mean that whatever. That's your thing. You do your thing. Yeah. What I'm probably the only person who thinks like that about them. So, yeah, I wouldn't worry about that too much. It's cool though. Okay. Sweet. New track by Route. Cool. I think that's great. I think the one thing I would say is just varying a little bit the speed of the little glitches. So like a little bit more of the kind of longer ones, and then some quick ones, and you just kind of want that to like those little glitchy things to sort of undulate instead of creating this pad of just like kind of going on all the time. And there's moments where you do it kind of more like that and less like that. And I think just kind of going through, ow, shit. Oh, I hit my funny bone. Ow. But yeah, I think just like going through one more time, sort of with the fine-tuned tooth comb and you know, for each area, for each little kind of glitchy section, just thinking about like where are some moments where you can find a little bit more space or have a little bit of a longer noise, and that kind of comes back into some quicker stuff. So you get this like that sort of thing. I think that's pretty much the only thing I can think to say about it, because I really like it. I really love this big ass synth. So fucking heavy. Sick. Yeah, fucking hell. Okay, we're gonna do a little tiny break. Just have to go get another glass of water. Yeah, I will be back in a sec. Yeah, really cool. Rot. Teddy, now. Still lots of time to send your tracks? Please do. Okay, so um, okay, so just some quick or some thoughts about this. I think like, in my opinion, this beat. Oh, where is it? This beat doesn't make any sense with the like you have this really great opportunity to make something where like essentially shit, I wish I could zoom in here, but like you have this great opportunity to make something that's like like just contrasting them with you know the cool melodic fills with some cool drum fills. And I feel like you didn't take that opportunity, which is a shame. Um, and I feel like what makes this thing so interesting, the like, is sort of the rhythm of it, right? Like it's like these really quick notes and then these nice breaks and stuff, and then to layer just a really straight beat under it takes away like I think all of the mystery from it, you know. Um, and you know I know I know I'm being kind of hard on you, but I know that like I know what your skill level is, so I that's why I'm being a little hard on you because I know you're fucking amazing at this stuff. So you know don't take it the wrong way. It's because I believe in you, obviously, that I'm doing this. But and then the other there's some really great moments in here. Like this stuff is fantastic. There's like this also, like that's really great, and I think like but what I think sort of needs to happen in here is like you have this really complex little arpeggio thing that needs to develop, that needs to go somewhere else, something you know equally complicated or even more complicated if you want to go in this sort of like proggy kind of direction. But like yeah, go full tilt and like really develop that harmony, develop like, and you know even when you're here, we're still in this straight sort of thing of like and then we have another and then but like you know you don't have to stick to that grid of those particular notes. You can do like or some shit, like I don't know, you know what I mean. So like this is you have a really you have this has a lot of potential. The interesting boodly thing, there's a lot of really fucking awesome sound design in here already. I think you just need to put in the time to take this to the maximum level because it really has so much potential. And I know that you have the skill to do that, so that's why I'm being a bit hard on you. But yeah, I guess in that sense I wouldn't worry too much about the bass or the mix or whatever for now. Like what I would try to think about is like where is it gonna go compositionally, and where, you know, and what other like what ways you have of fucking with this main theme that you have, and yeah, and where else can it go? But yeah, other than I mean, it still sounds cool. It's like, yeah, your stuff always sounds cool. So. All right, sunk. We got I'm a bunch of numbers. Star Beats. And Eric. Okay. Yeah, that's a vibe. That's a really big mood. Big mood, as the youths say. The youths. I also feel a bit strange about that snare. I feel like I rarely hear like such drum sounds in your stuff. So it's strange to hear that drum in there. Also, you know, I kind of feel like a side stick or a low pass snare or something might feel maybe a bit more like it fits or something, but I love the vibe that comes out of like having that in there. Like it just kind of really clarifies how kind of strange what you're doing is with the rhythm. It's really cool. Yeah. It's cool. It's so fucking dark too. Yeah, I really like it. Very strange. Very strange things happening in here. Yeah, I like it. I think I'd be interested to hear where you decide to take this. Like where... I think developing it a little bit more harmonically would also help too. Like... some more instruments and some more just notes in there. I think that would be cool. I think it would fit well with the vibe too. But yeah, killer. You really shouldn't be nervous about that. I think it's really good. Nice. So now on to number. And number is here. Oh, I don't. Okay, here we go. Okay, cool. So I think this there's a couple things. Shut the fuck up. So there's a couple little things. One, I think those sort of repeaty glitches are hard to pull off in this context. There's one place where I think you really nailed it. Yeah, I think it was there. And it's because you sort of like got to it, you know? Like you had sort of a reason for it a little bit more. But there's a couple of them in here that I feel like they don't quite make any sense. Like those ones where it's just like, no, 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 no. I think like, for me, I feel like they take away from the bigness of the vibe. I think like something, they take away from the consistency of the like kind of noise, and I think that in the end sort of does a disservice to that huge texture that you have, that sort of wall of sound. I think you can figure out a way to fit them in there. It's just going to take a little bit more of this type of thing where that was a nice one, actually. Not the first one, but the second one. Not the like, but the that kind of stuff. So I think you got to be really selective about which glitches you end up putting in this kind of track. The other thing is this trick that you do here. I think don't go back to the other channel. Like don't go back to the right channel after that. It takes away a little bit from the coolness, I think. Because when you go to the left channel, there is this feeling of like, uh-oh, did one of my headphones explode? But then if you go to the right channel, it just feels like you're like, well, I had to balance it out, you know? So I think like just go to the left channel, cut it out or something, and then come back full force with both. It'll give this feeling of like, oh, and then you'll get smashed in the face with the sound again. At this moment. I also think here, when you go here, this crackly sound is really cool, and for sure go for it, I think. But then once you get here, to get the full impact of those like kind of moments, I would go silence or some other type of sound there. Although the interesting thing about this section is I find it this really like it really fucks with my ears. Let's hear it again. So yeah, I think like I mean I guess that's sort of a personal taste thing. I'm not sure if that makes sense, that or if I'm right about it. Not that anyone can really be right, but whatever. That's kind of my take on that. And then my other thought was like, I think here, you have that like bong sound, and I think here when you go full tilt on it, like bang, 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 I feel like you can do this slightly. I'm not sure how exactly, but maybe it's about the timbre of that bang sort of sound. Like an alternative thing that I could see working would be just like a really short, like pure sine tone. So instead of like bing, it's like beep, 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 beep. Thank you. Yeah, so I think that could be another option that could work. You know what I mean? Like a short sign instead of like a bang. But like, so I know it's it is. I believe you that it is originally a sine, but like because of everything else that's going on with the mix, the sine itself is getting distorted by all the other sounds that are playing at the same time, right? But maybe a short sustained one would give it a different. It'll for sure give it a different feeling. But I think like leaning into. I really like what's happening with the kick drums here. There, I think the kick drums are really satisfying, and to me, a little bit the like is taking away from it a little bit. I'm not really sure why, but yeah, I don't know. Some things to think about. I'm not really like 100% on my opinions on this one though, to be honest. I think it's interesting, but oh wow, thank you. Oh shit, I got it. Sorry. Soup delivery. Yeah. It's certainly really cool and interesting. I'm curious what will happen with this. Yeah, cool. Star Beats. Okay, so cool. Thank you for sending a track. This channel isn't really for that because there's not really very many channels that do experimental music reviews, and most of them will allow other types of tracks, so I just don't allow them on this stream just so that this stream can stay like experimental music focused. Thanks for sending it anyways, and if you do, decide to make some experimental music, please send it over. So now Ascend. Okay, so let me record a little bit of this and I'll show you kind of what I would maybe do with it. So I think like, okay, so my instinct would be to take out the drums and try to think about like how else could you structure the rhythm. Instead of using the rhythm as sort of a backbeat, try to think of a different way that the drums can accompany the other shit going on in the song, right? So you have this like turn it up a little bit. And there's sort of like a call and response thing going on, right? and then so maybe the drums should accentuate those two things, like you know what I mean, like to sort of, I was gonna take it in here to do something with it, but I'm not sure if I know quite what to do. We could try, I mean, like, you know, we can always try, this is my go-to when I don't know what to do, right? I'll just throw it into Scratchy, and just see if I can figure out a way to make it, just figure out some different phrasings, like, especially if I'm stuck for phrasing, right? So yeah, I think there's some potential there. Just kind of need to bring your thinking a little bit outside of the box of, like, you know, that has been my go-to lately, but you just take it slow, honestly. I find that, like, small movements make them more interesting. The most interesting passages that come out of this are, like, from these very small movements. And I also, honestly, I do it with the mouse always on stream, but I find, and I actually usually do it with the mouse, but I find that doing it with the knob is actually easier. Yeah, this is a Max for Live device that you can get on my website. And actually, there's better ones for this that you can get on my website too, but, yeah. But yeah, so honestly, that would be kind of my first suggestion would be take out the drums and just try to rethink, like, what the structure for the drums could be, and like, so generally when we think about, like, adding drums to something, we'll start with, you know, putting the snare on every 3 or every 2 and 4 or something, right? So you have this sort of metronomic thing going on behind that keeps the pulse, right? But in this case, you don't need that, because your melodic thing sort of keeps the pulse well enough. The other way you can go about doing it is, like, start with just a hi-hat, and then, you know, don't worry about putting the snare on the 3 or on the 2 and the 4. Just try moving it around and seeing where it's more interesting, and try to deal with it in small chunks. Like, generally when I have a thing like this, I'll zoom into, like, one, you know, 2 or 4 bar loop, and then just try to really refine the drums in that area, and then move over a little bit and do the same thing for the next 2 bars, right? And then just kind of, once you've got a good, like, 4 or 8 bars, then you can copy it over and just start changing it. Like, every time you copy it over, you change it. I think the thing that Ableton really kind of suggests by the way that it's structured is to do this, where you make a MIDI pattern and then you just, like, drag it out and it just loops and loops and loops, right? This is sort of like, it invites you to do this behavior because it's the easiest thing to do. But copy pasting makes things, invites you to change things more, right? If I copy paste this and I change this one is different now. And now when I copy paste these two, these ones are all different, so I can kind of throw some stuff in here, or maybe I take out some of these and put some stuff like this, you know? And now my thing that would have just been one continuous loop now is broken up in this way where it's evolving, and we have, like, call and response, and then a larger, like, recursive call and response here, and then we can continue with that sort of recursion and have, like, call and response here by changing this one a little bit. That helps with the evolution of a track and helps you kind of, like, get outside of that looping frame of mind, or whatever that classic rave song is called. or whatever that song was. So yeah, that would be my main thing. Like, and also when you're thinking about, so here what you have is no, I was wrong actually. But I was just gonna talk about like making the kick and the bass. I honestly, lately I've been thinking about it, and I feel like I think about the kick and the bass as one item, right? They're two articulations of the same instrument. One is like the sort of staccato and more punctuating aspect of it, and then you have that's the kick, and then the bass is like the meat and the kind of like anchor, right? And by playing them at the same time or alternating them or any other stuff like that, you can get these different phrasings, but I think they're all kind of part of the same thing. So and I mean that's kind of what you've done here, right? You have this nice kind of conversation between the kick and the bass, and I think that if you take out those repetitive snares, and maybe think about putting some different types of drum sounds or sound designy stuff in there, that can help you kind of get out of that box. Yeah. Okay, cool. Otherwise, interesting. There's lots of interesting things in here that I think, like pulling them apart and fucking with them will help, will give you more ideas and stuff. Okay, Mycelium by Adjunct Funk. Cool. This one, I think I would say kind of a fair bit of the same things. Like there's quite a bit of this sort of, I mean, I know it's sort of more of a dub track, but I think like there's room for more elaborate sound design and stuff in here. We can kind of do the same thing actually. Let's just drop it in here and take a listen to what we could get out of it. actually, since you're new, maybe let's go through the whole process that I usually do for this kind of stuff. So let's take this and resample it through here. So we'll just go like this. Probably good. And then let's do that through some other effect. I'm kind of thinking that DVTL effects would be good for this one. So let's try that. We'll throw that on this channel actually. So taking the output of the first thing and then putting it through some other process. And yeah, I kind of think like doing this with the whole mix can be super interesting. So let's record that now. Oh, we're out of time. Okay. So then taking the output of that and doing some other process through it. So here's another one of my favorites, where this time we're going to record in this view, and then we'll just play around with this sort of thing. So let's record that. Some of this one too. I just realized what's happening. I'm playing it through this fucking effect again. My bad. Hold on. Let's try that again. So and actually, if you speed up the tempo, you'll get faster little glitches. So then we have something like that, which we can bring back here. And then we can put that through a different process. At this point, like maybe a granular thing would be interesting. We're starting to get to a point where it's like pretty fucked up. So yeah, it depends what you want to do. Let's use this granulator thing. This one isn't on my site, but I think I'm going to put it on my site because it works, so might as well. And then yeah, let's just move over and remove sample from the master again. Yeah, so I'll just do those and then okay, cool. So we got some more noises. And then, so at this point, going back to your original song and finding places to chop those little moments in, I think that would be really, really handy. Like, so, oh, we're at crazy speed now. Just don't know what we had before. So now we can try and take some of these ones or any of the previous ones. Actually, I'll do a little thing that I like to do before that. So, okay, and then let's just plop it in there and see where we can make it fit. This might be a bit loud for. Oops. Let's try maybe here. Or you can pull out stuff like this and make more space for these sorts of things. So sometimes it's actually really helpful to like crossfade between the two sounds. And then we can just search around in here for another one, right? So I can just take this and audition different sections. Oh, it's fucking up now. And of course, like now that we have this here, we can try playing with all sorts of different parameters in the warp modes. Or layering different iterations of the same sound, maybe with different amounts of stretching, or different sounds entirely. So yeah, obviously if you have it on the grid and stuff, that'll be a lot easier. This one this one actually is available for my patrons on Patreon if you're interested in getting it before I get around to uploading it. The other thing that we can do now, actually, now that I think of it, I might have to export this. Hold on. So, yeah, let's just export this quickly, and then I'll show you another little trick. Actually, we might have to export all of those. Yeah, I don't want it to take up too much room. Oops. Don't look at that. So the other thing that we can do is try to run it through this thing. Let's try loading these into the source sounds. Shit. Okay, yeah, we have to render these all out. So actually, I'll just render them as one big thing. shit, I think I fucked up the name. Yeah, and you can put anything that you want in that chain, right? Like maybe one of the things that you want to put in that chain is just throw a, actually one that turns out pretty well sometimes actually, just throw a delay on there and then just play with it on full wet and see what kind of weird sounds you can get from the delay. There's oftentimes really great sounds just from fucking with delays or whatever. Yeah, okay, so now let's try this. I don't know how well this is going to work, but let's just have some fun. Downloads. So this is our source. And this is our target. Can process these. Okay. And now let's match everything. Let's try again. Or let's try something else. Let's just try like a normal beat in there. Let's try one of these drum and bass ones. Oops. Yeah, that didn't work. Oh, right. It works a lot better if you have drum bus after it. Oops. Actually, on that note, let's put this one back in there. Come on. God damn it. No. Ah. How do I maintain tonality and phase when I'm doing these kind of things? Sometimes I'm scared to experiment too much with certain sounds because of phasing issues or to retain its root note. Yeah, so what I would say is don't be afraid of that. You're the one who figured out how to make it in tune in the first place, right? Like just use your ears. These sounds do have tonal information in them, right? Some of them. So the other thing is too, I don't know if you noticed this, but almost none of these change the pitch of the sound, right? Scratchy doesn't change the pitch if you have it on time stretch mode. Moving the playhead around doesn't change the pitch, and neither does DTBLK-FX. At least not the ones that I chose, not the modes that I chose. So from there, 90% of them will already work. But yeah, you should also like try, use your ears. Like you'll hear if some things if they're still in tune or not. You'll know if it's working or not. Oh shit! I think that's why we fucked up, because this should have been like this. Anyways, and yeah, you can let it get kind of atonal and then bring it back. But yeah, I think that's the thing too. And like, I honestly, I wouldn't worry too much about phase issues in general because, again, like if the phase is fucking it up, you'll hear that, right? Phase is not some mystery thing that like you can't perceive. If it was some mystery thing that we couldn't perceive, then then we wouldn't care if our shit was out of phase. But like when you have it's like a quick thing. I'm guessing that you probably already know this, but maybe there's somebody who's watching who doesn't understand phasing. So like if we have two sine waves that are out of phase, I don't know, how do you do this again? Like half of pi, or pi, is it pi? No. We can do this. 90 times x. Oh, no. Shit, I did it in the wrong place. Times plus. Right. Okay, so actually I think this one. Oh, am I fucking this up here? There we go. Okay, whatever. So we hacked it together. So anyway, so when things are out of phase, the issue is that the phase interference affects, like, if you add these two together. Oh, this is not okay. What am I doing here? Rad is, sorry, idiot. Okay, so it was pi in the end. So if you add these two together. I wonder if we can do that, actually. So this one we'll call B, this one we'll call A, and then y equals B plus A. Yeah, so these ones are perfectly out of phase, right? That's why we get this straight line for B plus A. Now if we make them slightly less out of phase, so let's say 2 or something, oh, you can see, I wish we could change the fucking color of this. Can we change the color? No. Doesn't look like it. So, yeah, it's just changing the amplitude of the output. Like when you're playing two sounds at the same time, the signals of those sounds are just getting added together. There's no secret sauce to it. They're literally just the two waves are getting added together. That's what it means to play two sounds at the same time. So when you have these two together, this is what you'll see on the output. So now you can see that if I change these values, then we're just changing the output, or like the shape of the output, right? Let's try doing this a little bit differently. 2, 3, 4. Oops. Jesus Christ! Come on, Greg. 5, 6. This is not helping my case here. Oh, let's put it on a slider here. Slider. So now we can see how it changes, like as we adjust the phase between the two things. So that's the whole shtick, is like when you have two sine waves playing at the same, or when you have two sounds playing at the same time, if they're out of phase, you'll get your wave will get kind of fucked up. And that can be a more complicated waveform, right? Like, so say this first waveform was times some other thing through a sine wave distortion, or like a sine wave through a sine wave distortion, then you'll see we're still not really changing the timbre of the output of the resultant wave. We're sort of just changing, like, here we have this part of it gets completely out of phase, this initial part of it gets completely out of phase or something. But yeah, this is still making sense, right? The sort of the issue with like things being out of phase between the left and the right channel is that you'll get like weird stereo imaging shit. But on that note, you know, when you're doing your mix down, just like if you're really worried about it, you can just like high pass out some of the low stuff in here. And as long as this isn't going all the time, it's also not going to be an issue. Like if you have a little section that has like a glitchy sound, and that one sound has some phasing issues, like that's fine, you know. This stuff matters a lot more if your songs are getting mono-summed because they're going to be played at the mall, right? Then it matters a lot more. But any like serious concert venue most likely will have stereo sound, and so you don't really have to worry about that. And if you are worried about it, if you're still worried about it, then just throw utility on your master and check it, like mono sum it, check it. So you really don't have to worry about it. There's lots of ways that you can mitigate it if you are worried about it. But in general, I would say just trust your ears, and if it sounds bad, it sounds bad. If it sounds good, it sounds good, and that's it. Just leave it at that. Yeah, that's true about what Sunk said as well. So anyways, on that note, I think we're done for the day. It doesn't seem like there's any other... Oh, there's one... Oh, no, this person makes rap. Okay, so we're not anti-rap. It's just not a rap channel, just to clear that up. Okay, so, but what I was thinking is, I think I do want to start kind of passing the torch a little bit for the track review streams. So I was thinking like maybe every other week we get somebody else to host it. I really liked when Soup hosted it last week, and it seemed like everybody else really liked it. So I think like I think that would be a really positive thing. I think yeah, I think I guess we'll figure it out, like between glitch.cool and my Patreon server. We'll sort of figure out who might be good to host for next week, and I'll try to stay on top of that. And we'll just kind of take it from there. But yeah, I think that will be more fun for all of us, is like if we have guest hosts every other week. And for those of you who are emotionally attached to me, I will still be doing it every other week, so you'll still get that. And there's always my Thursday streams. Can you send me the link again, Sunk? If you really want some time with your old pal Woulg, you can tune into my Thursday streams, which are at 5 p.m. now. And afterwards, if you hadn't had enough of track review, we usually raid Annie Klang, who also hosts a really cool track review on Thursdays. So there's that as well. Yeah, and on that note, we're going to raid Resonant Language in a sec. If anybody has any suggestions off the top of their head for who they would like to see host a track review, I think like most of you in here, I think it would be interesting to see you do a track review. Uh-oh, it's getting kind of green. Okay, let's watch this, and then we'll raid Resonant Language. Thank you again. I'm an idiot and I pressed the wrong button. Just 1 second, I just have to make sure. Okay, yeah, it's just like that. Okay, so here we go. And thank you again to everybody. Bye. Thank you. And thank you to you.